A warm bowl of oatmeal in the morning, thinking, I'm doing something good for my body, only to feel sluggish, bloated, or hungry again an hour later. You're not alone. A lot of folks over 60 turn to oatmeal as a go-to breakfast because it's easy, familiar, and often recommended as a healthy option. But here's the thing that many people don't realize. It's not always the oatmeal itself that's the problem. It's what we put in it. You might be surprised to hear this, but certain popular oatmeal add-ins, yes, even the ones we think are healthy, can actually work against our goals as we age. They can spike blood sugar, lead to unnecessary weight gain, mess with digestion, or drain your energy before lunchtime hit. And I know that doesn't feel fair, especially when we're trying to make better choices and stay on track. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about giving up oatmeal or obsessing over every bite. It's about becoming aware. When we hit our 60s and beyond, our bodies just don't process things the way they used to. What gave us energy in our 40s might leave us drained today. What was once a harmless sweetener may now be the reason our blood sugar spikes and crashes. So today we're going to talk about a few oatmeal add-ins that might be sneaking into your breakfast bowl and doing more harm than good. You might recognize some of them from your pantry. Others might be hiding in those pre-packaged healthy oatmeals that look innocent enough on the shelf. But don't worry. We're not just pointing fingers here. Along the way, we'll talk about why these ingredients don't play nicely with aging bodies, and what you can try instead to support better energy, digestion, and overall vitality. Now, picture this. You wake up, stretch a little, and head to the kitchen. The sun's coming in through the window. You're looking forward to your peaceful routine. You set the kettle to boil, grab your oats, and stir them gently on the stove. Everything feels cozy and just right. But then you reach for that bottle of sweetener. Maybe it's honey or maple syrup or one of those fancy flavored syrups you bought on sale. You drizzle it in, thinking, just a touch, nothing too crazy. That's where we need to pause. Because the first big oatmeal mistake many people over 60 make is adding too much sugar, whether it's natural or not. Now I get it. You want your oatmeal to taste good. And the idea of eating plain oats sounds about as exciting as chewing on cardboard. But here's what happens when we start the day with a sugar hit, especially at our age. That quick burst of sweetness goes straight to the bloodstream. Your body responds by releasing insulin to handle the spike. Then, just as quickly as the sugar comes in, it crashes, and you're left feeling tired, maybe irritable, and craving more food by mid-morning. Sound familiar? Natural sweeteners like honey and maple syrup sound healthy, and they do have some minerals. But when it comes to blood sugar, your body treats them pretty similarly to regular sugar. Even the popular organic brown sugar or agave nectar fall into that same trap. They might have a softer marketing label, but inside your system, they can still cause inflammation, throw off your energy levels, and stress your metabolism. This doesn't mean you have to eat your oats completely plain like some kind of monk. But it does mean being mindful of how much sweetness you're adding and how it's affecting your energy. If you're looking for a gentler way to sweeten things up, try a handful of fresh berries or a sprinkle of cinnamon. These give flavor without sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster. And if you still want something a little sweeter, a tiny slice of banana or a few raisins can do the trick. But moderation is key. So, next time you're tempted to pour in that big spoonful of honey, just pause and ask, will this help me feel good all morning or leave me crashing by 10 a.m.? That one question can make a huge difference. Now, let's move on to something that often flies under the radar: flavored instant oatmeal packets. You know the ones. Those little colorful packets with names like apple cinnamon or maple brown sugar. They're fast, they're convenient, and honestly, they smell great when you pour the hot water over them. But here's the problem. They're often loaded with hidden sugars, artificial flavors, and preservatives that your body simply doesn't need, especially now. Even the brands that market themselves as heart-healthy or made with whole grains can be sneaky. They might have oats, sure, But they also come with additives that strain your liver, upset your gut, or spike your glucose more than you realize. And for many older adults, digestion is already slower than it used to be, so these artificial extras can cause even more bloating or discomfort. A better approach? Stick with plain rolled oats or steel-cut oat. They take a couple of extra minutes to cook, but you're in control of what goes in and what stays out. You can flavor them naturally with things like unsweetened almond milk, a dash of vanilla extract, or even a few chopped nuts. Once you get used to building flavor this way, those artificial packets won't even taste good anymore. Your body knows the difference, and over time, you'll feel that difference in your gut, in your mood, even in how steady your energy feels throughout the morning. Speaking of chopped nuts, let's talk about another oatmeal add-in that can be healthy in small amounts, but easily backfires when we go overboard. I'm talking about dried fruit. Now don't get me wrong, dried fruits like raisins, cranberries, or apricots sound like a natural choice. After all, they're fruit, right? They're colorful, chewy, and they give your oatmeal that sweet tart pop. But here's what many people don't realize. Dried fruit is concentrated sugar. When the water is removed from fruit, all the natural sugars become more dense. That handful of dried cranberries you toss in might have the same sugar as eating 2 or 3 fresh ones, and sometimes even more if they've been sweetened, and many brands are. For seniors, this matters. Excess sugar, even from something healthy like dried fruit, can contribute to inflammation, joint pain, and that dreaded brain fog that makes it harder to focus or remember things. It can also mess with your blood pressure and even your sleep cycle, believe it or not. If you really love dried fruit, try cutting back the portion or soaking it overnight with your oats to soften the sugar's impact. Even better, swap it out occasionally for chopped fresh fruit like apples, pears, or blueberries. These have fiber and water intact, which helps slow down the sugar absorption and gives your digestive system a break. You see, it's not just about what sounds healthy, it's about how these foods actually feel in your body. And as we age, it becomes more and more important to listen to those signals. Feeling bloated after breakfast isn't just getting older. That's your body giving you feedback. Feeling tired before lunch isn't inevitable. It's often the result of what we put in our morning bowl. Let me tell you a quick story. A woman I spoke to recently, she's 72, full of life, walks every day, sharp as a tack, told me she couldn't figure out why she always needed a nap by 11 a.m., even though she was sleeping well and eating oatmeal every morning. We looked at what she was adding. A big spoonful of brown sugar, a handful of raisins, and sometimes a splash of flavored creamer from her coffee poured right into the oat. It added up. She cut back the sugar, used fresh blueberries instead of raisins, and added a scoop of protein. Within a week, she felt completely different. No more mid-morning crash. Her belly felt lighter, her mind was clearer, and she didn't need that nap anymore. That's the power of small shift. And that's what we're talking about here. Not giant overhauls or complicated diet. Just small, smart adjustments that make your breakfast work for you instead of against you. Now that we've talked about sugar, flavored packets, and dried fruit, there's another oatmeal add-in we need to talk about. It's one that a lot of folks assume is healthy, but if you're not careful, it can do more harm than good. And that's protein powder. Now, I know some of you might be surprised to hear that. Wait, protein is good for me, right? Absolutely. As we age, getting enough protein becomes more important than ever. It helps preserve muscle mass, supports metabolism, and even keeps your bones stronger. But here's the catch. Not all protein powders are created equal. A lot of the ones you see in stores are packed with things your body doesn't need. Artificial sweeteners, gums, stabilizers, chemical preservatives, and other mystery ingredients you can't even pronounce. Many of these were designed with bodybuilders in mind, not folks in their 60s, 70s, or beyond who are simply looking for better health and sustained energy. Some protein powders also contain dairy-based ingredients like whey or casein, which can cause bloating or digestive discomfort, especially if your gut isn't handling lactose as well as it used to. Even plant-based protein powders aren't always innocent. Some contain pea protein concentrates or soy isolates that are heavily processed and tough on sensitive stomach. So, if you're scooping protein powder into your oatmeal every morning and wondering why you feel gassy, sluggish, or a bit off afterward, that could be the culprit. This doesn't mean all protein powders are bad, but it does mean you should be very selective and pay close attention to how your body responds. Instead of defaulting to the giant plastic tub with a flashy label, look for simpler, cleaner options. A good rule of thumb: the fewer ingredients, the better. Ideally, choose one without artificial flavors or sugars. Something that uses natural sweeteners like monk fruit or has none at all. Or, you can skip the powder altogether and get your protein naturally. Adding a spoonful of Greek yogurt, a few chopped almonds, or even blending in some silken tofu can do the trick. And it's gentler on your body. I once knew a gentleman. He was 68, still working part-time at a hardware store and proud of staying active, but he couldn't figure out why he was always feeling bloated by lunchtime. He was trying to up his protein game, like he'd read in a magazine. Every morning, he added this ultra-concentrated chocolate-flavored protein blend into his oat. But it wasn't helping, it was hurting. When he switched to a simple unsweetened Greek yogurt instead, the difference was night and day. His energy came back, his digestion improved, and he didn't feel like he had a brick in his stomach all morning. Sometimes it's not about doing more, it's about doing less and doing it smarter. Now let's talk about another add-in that many people turn to for a bit of crunch: granola. I know, granola sounds like the healthier cousin of cereal, and it's often advertised as natural or organic. But if you've ever looked closely at the label, you might notice that granola is often packed with sugar, oils, and refined carbohydrate. It's essentially a crunchy dessert hiding in a health food disguise. Even just a small sprinkle of store-bought granola can add hundreds of calories and a hefty dose of added sugar to your breakfast. And if you're eating oatmeal because you want to manage your weight, support your heart, or keep blood sugar levels stable, this can totally backfire. I remember walking through the cereal aisle with a friend of mine. She's 64 and recently retired, and she picked up a bag of maple almond granola that she loved to sprinkle on her oats. She was shocked when she saw it had almost as much sugar as a candy bar. "But it's granola," she said. "I thought it was healthy." That's the kind of marketing we're up against. Labels can be misleading, and sometimes we don't realize we're layering sugar on top of sugar. Now, does this mean you can never have granola again? Of course not. But it's worth rethinking how you use it. If you love that crunchy texture, try toasting some plain rolled oats with a touch of cinnamon and a few chopped nuts in the oven. No sugar, no junk, just real, whole ingredient. Or go for a handful of pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds for that satisfying crunch without the sugar crash. Remember, every small improvement adds up. Swapping just one sugary item from your breakfast can change how you feel for the rest of the day. And feeling good, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Next up, let's touch on something a little more sneaky: non-dairy creamers. You might be thinking, wait, I only use that in my coffee. But I've spoken to quite a few people who like to pour a little flavored creamer into their oatmeal to make it taste richer. Especially the vanilla, hazelnut, or caramel ones. They do add flavor, sure, but they also bring along a whole list of hidden ingredients your body doesn't want. Many of these creamers, whether they're powdered or liquid, contain hydrogenated oils, corn syrup solids, artificial flavorings, and other synthetic chemicals that can contribute to inflammation, disrupt hormones, and increase your risk of heart disease. And they offer basically no nutrition in return. Even if the label says dairy-free, it doesn't mean healthy. In fact, many dairy-free creamers are even more processed than traditional ones. And if you're already adding fruit or spices to your oats, do you really need a shot of sugary, oily creamer on top? A better idea would be using unsweetened almond milk, oat milk, or even just a splash of regular milk if your stomach handles it well. These options add creaminess without dumping in extra sugar and chemicals, and your body will thank you. You might notice less joint stiffness in the morning, or your skin might feel clearer. These little shifts add up in the most unexpected ways. Let me share something personal. My aunt, who's 75 and as sassy as ever, used to add hazelnut creamer into everything. Her coffee, her tea, even her oatmeal. She said it made it feel like dessert. But she always had stiff knees in the morning and couldn't figure out why. After cutting the creamer and switching to a little vanilla almond milk, her stiffness started to ease within just a few weeks. Coincidence? Maybe. But when she reintroduced the creamer, boom, the stiffness returned. Sometimes our bodies speak in whispers, and it's up to us to listen. So if you've been using flavored creamers in your oats thinking it's harmless, take a second look. A small swap can help you start the day feeling lighter and more energized. Now let's talk about something that sounds healthy, because technically it is, but it's not always the best fit first thing in the morning, especially for seniors. I'm talking about chia seeds. Yes, chia seeds are full of omega-3s, fiber, and protein. They're a favorite in the health world for a reason. But for some older adults, especially those with sensitive digestion, chia seeds can cause issues like gas, bloating, or discomfort, particularly if they're eaten dry or not soaked properly. When you toss a spoonful of dry chia seeds into hot oatmeal and don't give them time to expand, they can pull water from your digestive system as they absorb it, which may leave you feeling dried out or even a little constipated. That's not what you want from your breakfast. If you love chia seeds, try soaking them overnight in water or plant-based milk. This allows them to gel up and become easier on the stomach. You can even mix them into overnight oats or stir them into your cooked oatmeal after it's cooled slightly. This gives your body the chance to absorb the nutrients without the digestive side effect. And remember, you don't have to include every trendy superfood in your breakfast. Just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right for your body. Aging well is about tuning into what makes you feel strong, clear-headed, and satisfied, not what the latest blog says is in. We all want to start the day with something comforting, something nourishing, something that makes us feel good. Oatmeal can absolutely be that food. It's warm, familiar, and full of potential. But what we stir into that bowl matters, sometimes more than we realize. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just begin to notice how your body feels after breakfast. Pay attention to your energy, your mood, your digestion. These are all signs your body is giving you, little clues pointing you toward what works and what doesn't. You've come this far in life, and you've learned a lot. This is just another step in that journey, refining your routine so you can feel better, move better, and live better every single day. Because you deserve that. You really do. And speaking of living better, there's one more oatmeal mistake that catches many people by surprise. That last sneaky oatmeal mistake? It might be sitting right in your spice rack or fridge right now, flavored yogurt. I know what you might be thinking. Yogurt's good for me, right? It's got calcium, probiotics, and protein. And yes, plain yogurt can be a wonderful addition to your diet, especially for keeping your bones strong and your gut healthy. But those sweetened, flavored yogurts you find in the dairy aisle? They can undo all that good with one quick stir into your morning oat. Strawberry, vanilla, peach. They sound innocent enough, but many of them are packed with added sugar, artificial flavorings, and sometimes even food coloring. Some single-serve containers have more sugar than a candy bar. And when you mix that into your oatmeal, thinking you're doing your body a favor, you're really just giving it another dose of what it doesn't need. For older adults, these sugars don't just make it harder to manage blood sugar. They also affect your energy levels, mental clarity, and even your mood throughout the day. Not to mention, some of the added gums and thickeners in processed yogurts can upset sensitive stomachs and lead to more bloating or discomfort. If you enjoy adding yogurt to your oats, And I know many people do. Try switching to plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. It's rich, creamy, and gives you a good boost of protein without the crash. You can add your own flavor with cinnamon, nutmeg, or a drizzle of vanilla extract. If you like a bit of sweetness, stir in a few mashed berries or a tiny spoonful of mashed banana. That way, you're controlling the sugar, not letting the food industry do it for you. There's something empowering about taking back that control. When you start your day with intention, not just routine, you send a message to your body that says, "I care about you." And believe me, your body responds. You might notice your belly feels lighter, your joints a bit less stiff. You might feel more steady on your feet. Or maybe it's just that little boost of confidence that comes from knowing you're doing something good for yourself. That matters. It really does. You see, aging well isn't about perfection. It's not about sticking to some strict diet or obsessing over every calorie. It's about awareness, knowing your body has different needs now than it did 10, 20, or 30 years ago, and honoring that with the small choices you make every day. And breakfast is the perfect place to start. Because think about it, breakfast sets the tone for everything that follows. When you begin your day with nourishing food, with simple ingredients that fuel rather than fatigue, everything flows a little more easily. Your mood is better. Your mind is sharper. You're more likely to move your body, connect with others, and feel good about the choices you make. But when we load our breakfast bowl with hidden sugars, chemical-laden creamers, and overly processed toppings, it can leave us dragging before noon and wondering why we're not feeling as vibrant as we'd like. The good news is, you don't have to overhaul everything overnight. In fact, one of the best things you can do is pick just one of the oatmeal habits we talked about today and try changing it for a week. Maybe it's swapping the brown sugar for cinnamon. Maybe it's replacing the flavored creamer with almond milk. Maybe it's choosing plain yogurt over the sweetened kind. Start small. See how you feel. Your body will guide you from there. I've seen so many people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s make these kinds of shifts and completely change how they feel each day. One woman in her early 70s told me that after she cut out the dried cranberries and flavored yogurt from her oatmeal, she no longer needed her mid-morning nap. Another gentleman said that switching from instant packets to steel-cut oats helped him stay full until lunch for the first time in years. And his blood sugar numbers improved, too. That's the beauty of these little changes. They're simple, they're doable, and they add up. Because when your breakfast fuels you properly, it creates a ripple effect. You're more alert for your morning walk. You're more motivated to call that friend or tackle that home project. You feel more in control of your health, your energy, and your day. And isn't that what we're all looking for? A little more control, a little more clarity, a little more joy in the ordinary moments. So the next time you stand over your oatmeal bowl, ready to stir something in, pause for just a second. Ask yourself, is this going to give me the energy and clarity I want today? That one question can change your day, and over time, maybe even your life, because you deserve to feel good. You deserve to have energy. You deserve mornings that don't leave you drained or bloated or crashing before lunchtime. And the truth is, you don't have to give up the foods you love. You just have to learn how to enjoy them in a way that serves you now, in this stage of life. Your 60s and beyond can be some of the most powerful, joyful, and meaningful years of your life, but only if you support the body that's carrying you through them. And it all starts with a simple bowl of oats and a few smart choices. So if you found this helpful, I'd love to hear from you. What's one oatmeal habit you're ready to rethink? Or maybe you've already made some of these changes. Share your experience in the comments. You never know who you might inspire by telling your story. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps more folks like you find this kind of helpful content. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future tips, recipes, and encouragement for living your best life after 60. Thank you for spending a little of your morning with me. It's always an honor to connect with people who care about their health, their happiness, and the little choices that make a big difference. Here's to better breakfasts, brighter mornings, and feeling your best, because you've earned it. Before we wrap up today, I want to take a moment to slow things down. Not just to reflect, but to connect. Because sometimes, especially as we get older, it's easy to feel like we're doing this all alone. You wake up, the world is moving fast, and you're just trying to make one good choice. One healthy step forward. And yet, there's so much noise. So many opinions. One article says oatmeal is a miracle food. Another warns it's terrible for blood sugar. One friend swears by chia seeds, another avoids them entirely. It gets confusing. It gets overwhelming. So let's breathe together for a second and come back to the heart of it all. Your body, your experience, your journey. You are the expert on you. Not the TV doctor. Not the magazine. Not even me. What works for someone else might not work for you. What feels good in your body might not look trendy on a nutrition label. That's okay. That's better than okay. It's wisdom. And you've earned it. You know your body better than anyone. You know when something makes you feel sluggish, when something lifts your energy, when your digestion feels off, or when your brain feels clear as day. That kind of inner awareness is more powerful than any diet plan or health trend. The trick is just learning how to trust it again. So if you've tried oatmeal in the past and didn't feel great afterward, this might explain why. Maybe it wasn't the oats, it was what you added. Or maybe you skipped the protein. Or maybe you just need to try it in a new way that fits you, here and now. And if you've never paid much attention to what goes into your oats, hey, that's okay too. You're here now. You're learning. You're curious. That's all it takes to start changing your mornings and your health from the inside out. I had a conversation not long ago with a man in his late 60s. He just retired and was trying to take better care of himself. He told me, I always thought being healthy meant cutting things out, no this, no that. But now I'm learning it's not about saying no to everything. It's about saying yes to what helps me feel good. And that really stuck with me. Because saying yes to better habits, to mindful choices, to nourishing food, that's not a punishment. It's a gift, a daily act of kindness toward yourself. That same man ended up reworking his entire morning routine. He still eats oatmeal every day, but now it's made with steel-cut oats, a bit of almond milk, cinnamon, chopped walnuts, and a few blueberries. No sugar, no fancy toppings. And he says he feels 10 years younger. His mornings are steady, his energy lasts, and most of all, he enjoys the ritual of it. That's what I wish for you, not just healthier mornings, but joyful ones. Mornings that feel like an act of self-respect. A little daily vote in favor of your own well-being. So how do we get there, especially if it feels like a lot? Well, the best advice I can give is, start simple. Don't try to fix everything in one day. Don't empty your whole pantry and start over. Just notice. Notice how you feel after breakfast. Notice what makes you feel heavy or light, energized or sluggish. And then make one small change. Just one. If you've been using sugar, try cinnamon. If you've been using flavored packets, try plain oats and add your own toppings. If yogurt is part of your mix, read the label, or try plain. Just one small shift. Let your body guide the rest. And if you're someone who's been eating the same oatmeal the same way for years, you might be wondering, is it really worth changing now? The answer is yes. It's never too late to feel better. Our bodies are amazingly resilient. Even in our 60s, 70s, 80s and beyond, your body still responds to care, to nourishment, to love. You might feel the change in your joints, your gut, your sleep, your mood. You might even feel it in your spirit, because when we take care of our physical body, everything else tends to lift with it. And no, it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. There will be days when you add too much sweetener, or grab a flavored yogurt because it's quick, or forget to think about your toppings. That's okay. This isn't about perfection, it's about intention. And every morning you show up with the intention to care for yourself, you're already winning. You don't have to earn your health back all at once. You build it, gently, one mindful meal at a time. And you don't have to do it alone, either. That's what this space is for. That's what this community is for. If you're watching this video, know that you're not the only one asking these questions, making these changes, or wondering if it's still worth the effort. It is. And you're in good company here. I'd love to hear your voice in the comments. What have you tried that's worked for you? What questions do you still have? Or maybe you just want to say hi and share your morning routine. Every comment builds connection. Every voice helps someone else feel seen. If you found this video helpful, I hope you'll give it a like. It's a small thing that makes a big difference in helping others discover this content. And if you'd like to keep learning and growing with us, I'd be honored if you hit that subscribe button. We talk a lot here about real health, real aging, and real joy, and I'd love for you to be part of that journey. And before we go, just one last reminder. Your health doesn't come from doing everything right. It comes from listening. It comes from compassion. It comes from learning to work with your body, not against it. And it starts, beautifully, simply, with breakfast. Here's to a better bowl of oatmeal. Here's to brighter mornings. Here's to you. You're doing better than you think. And you're never too old to feel brand new.